Hey, it's Tuesday afternoon, April 11th. Big storm system developing close to the Gulf Coast, and this one is going to be one to watch. Not because we expect major impact of weather, but it's a very early season, almost tropical, maybe close to being a subtropical storm. A lot of wind, a lot of rain near the Louisiana Gulf Coast, Mississippi Gulf Coast, and up toward the Alabama coastline. And ultimately, what's happening here is we have this easterly flow across Florida and a northeast wind off the land from Alabama down through Mississippi into Louisiana. Slower wind up to the north, right here, faster wind down to the south, and that convergence is helping to kick off a lot of showers and thunderstorms, therefore lowering the pressure. And even though the water temperatures are warm, we're not quite to tropical warm just yet. And there's not a lot of organization to it based on satellite imagery Tuesday afternoon. A lot of cooler cloud tops up across coastal Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, where we have the localized thunderstorms, but not a whole lot happening with it at this point. This is water vapor imagery, and it's not something we show on television very often, but it is really cool. You can see a lot about the flow in the atmosphere from this. So first of all, thing to notice, we've got this counterclockwise flow centered over Louisiana. The convergence that's helping to create the thunderstorms is actually being enhanced by this upper ear low. There tends to be rising air on the eastern side of it and descending air on the western side. And then if we go up a little farther to the north, I can show you what's going on. There's a big ridge that has developed over the northern part of the country. The main jet stream now is running from Billings up to Winnipeg and then back down through Toronto. Then we've got this little handoff right here where the southern branch of the jet's doing this number. It's called a Rex block. You've got the high up to the north, the low down to the south like this, and usually with these, they just kind of block the flow up, so you don't get a lot of major weather change from day to day. So here's what we think is going to happen with this storm system. The overall forecast is for it to strengthen, get a bit more organized down here to the south. This is 11 p.m. today. See the thunderstorm activity around it. As it begins to move northward, it gets that classic, look at that rotation, that spin over coastal Mississippi and Alabama. We might even get some minor storm surge, and by minor, I mean very minor, not destructive, but maybe some rough surf there, coastal Alabama, coastal Mississippi, Louisiana, wind gusts over 30 miles per hour with that feature. And then look, as it moves north, 3 p.m. Thursday, we've got maybe some trouble out of a few of these rain bands over southeastern Alabama and southwest Georgia, northern Florida. That's a spot to watch for maybe some storms with gusty winds or a brief tornado. So Montgomery eastward, Alexander City, Roanoke, Wedowee south over into Georgia, northwestern Florida. Some issues possible there. But around Birmingham, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, west of there into Mississippi, and certainly up into Tennessee, not going to be much of an issue. In fact, the rain kind of fizzles out once it gets north of Birmingham. Speaking of rain fizzling out, we had a very active start to the severe weather season across the country. Over 60 fatalities. We've had between 400 and 500 tornadoes. That came from the Storm Prediction Center earlier today. What you're looking at is precipitation anomaly, or difference from normal between now and April 26th. So April 26th on the Euro side, which is right here. April 27th on the GFS side, which is right here. So immediately, you see down here to the south, this is our coastal low on both features, targeting Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. The farther north you go, the more that Rex block tends to prevent much development. This is important because it means that we essentially have a shutdown in the main branch of the jet stream that would typically come in and look something like this time of year. If we had that U-shaped pattern and we had the rising air over here doing this number right here, bringing very warm, very humid air north from the Gulf, we would have a lot of thunderstorms. But we're not seeing that pattern through about April 24th to April 26th. Beyond that, things start to change on us a little bit, and it is possible that we could have a storm system developing as early as April 26th or April 27th that sort of defies this whole pattern and maybe changes it going into the month of May. This is the operational GFS at 378 hours, not exactly something I would trust, but it shows the dip in the jet stream here, a negatively tilted trough, and by negative, you see the tilt like that. See, I've got that southeast to northwest line going right through the middle of the trough. It's strong. This also means strong jet stream winds that would be coming out ahead of it. And then you got this ridge right here, which happens to be somewhat reflected in the ensembles just a little bit. This is the ensemble from the same run of the model. It's got more of a trough over here on the east coast, but you can see it's got that little bump right there in the middle. So I think probably what will happen here is we end up with a pattern where there is some ridging out here, maybe some troughing in the middle, and then possibly some ridging near the east coast before you get into that next storm system. You got to think about it this way. The ensemble takes a bunch of crazy things. It takes all kinds of craziness and then just sort of averages it out. Somewhere out here between April 25th and April 30th, I would say there's a pretty decent chance that we're going to wind up with some storminess around the south. Is it Alabama? Is it Mississippi? Tennessee? I don't know yet, but it is certainly not the end of the season. Something else that we can look at is the Southern Oscillation, the SOI, to see if there's any real immediate threats out here. And usually when that daily contribution goes negative, within about 10 days, you can expect a fairly strong storm system over the southeastern U.S. That's a rule of thumb. It's not necessarily research. It's just rule of thumb forecasting. So back on, we started going negative back on March 29th. So now we've got this system that's developing near the Gulf Coast. Makes sense. So 10 days from now-ish, look at there, we're starting to drop a bit. So we've gone from very positive, which sets up drier weather, maybe to some inching toward negative territory. As of today, it was 0.43. Maybe if we see a stronger negative dip, then it gives some credence to what's going on out in the future with that GFS run. Short-term weather here around central Alabama tonight and early tomorrow morning. Some of us made it into the 30s early Tuesday. Might have a spot or two that makes it into the 30s again early on Wednesday, and then we're going to warm it up into the low and mid 70s on Wednesday afternoon. Not too shabby whatsoever. Rain chances increasing with that storm system that's approaching us. Thursday, Friday. It's Thursday all day, kind of patchy showers, Friday morning, and then late Saturday evening. Some showers and thunderstorms. Maybe coming in as early as 10 p.m., but I think most of it will be after midnight into early Sunday morning. So it's cool early Wednesday, warm in the afternoon. Showers are possible Thursday. Friday is a warm day because we get rid of the rain early in the morning. Saturday, we watch this next storm system. And even though this forecast guidance is trying to pick up on a few showers Saturday morning, I don't think too much of that actually exists. By the time we get to Saturday night, we've got this wave of showers, maybe a little thunder and lightning. No severe weather expected here. That moves to the southeast, and then by Sunday morning, the sky is already clearing, and we're setting up for a nice Sunday afternoon and a little bit cooler and drier into early next week, which is exactly the kind of thing that you would expect with the pattern that is setting up around here.